What's provider?
iCloud.
Peace, peace, and blessings. All right, peace and blessings. Committed neophyte in the house. Can you hear us? 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Up in the pool. Can you hear me? Do you have sound? Can you hear me? Beautiful, thank you so much. All right, head to pool, everyone. Peace and blessings. I'd like to take a little power out of this. So we're going to talk a little bit about divination. We're here at the conclusion of the Kwanzaa. Beautiful, beautiful Kwanzaa event. Yes. Yes. At New Black Wall Street Market in Stonecrest, Georgia. Beautiful, beautiful facility. And we send our blessings to the ancestor, Mr. Bill Allen, right? Bill Allen, who was, I understand, responsible for this amazing venture. And we're doing a little quick broadcast from here in the vision that you will find out about this location, that you will support this location, support the vendors in this location, because this is the solution. We have to support each other. We have to buy from ourselves and produce by ourselves. And isn't that what the Principles of Kwanzaa is all about? Yes, it is. So, I'm here representing the Osiris Set Society. We have a chapter here in Atlanta. Some beautiful people. You can look us up at osirisettatlanta.com and find out about all the activities and programs that's going on. And if you need a spiritual counseling session, we have people that have trained for decades in that. So we actually have 2 priestesses right now that are doing readings on site. Okay, but you can communicate with our Atlanta branch. If you're anywhere else in the country, you can go on our link tree. Sakara will put our link tree up so that you can have that information to be able to contact us wherever we might be so that you can get your divination on. What is divination? Divination is a universal feature of ancient spiritual traditions. It is a process through which you can communicate with God. That's the goal of divination. You say, well, some people say, well, I talk to God and I hear God. And yes, we all have some degree of that. But divination is the use of a device that is independent of our minds, which is very important, right? So something you heard of Ifa in the Yoruba tradition, right? The Akan have their divination system. The Chinese or the Taoists have the I Ching or the I King oracle system, which is an amazing divination system that we've also been trained in Osiris Set. But some years ago, I forget the years now, I think we're coming up on 40 years, maybe 38, 39 years ago, our chief priest, Ra'u Nefer Amen, received a download of an oracle system. something that I think will be looked back hundreds of years from now in the same manner that we look back at Fu Xi, who brought forth the I Ching Oracle system, and other great sages, right? That's something for you to verify on your own. But when that oracle was received by his person, and interestingly enough, we are about to enter into the cycle of Osset, right? That's the great mother. That's the great feminine power of God that was worshipped in Europe for thousands of years as the Black Madonna, right? That's still, the Black Madonna is still knelt to by the Pope in Vatican, right? So every year, there's a particular lunar cycle where the energy that we correspond to Osset, right? The Greeks call Isis, Yemaya, I think it's Nana Asi in the Akan tradition, that feminine power of God, that we call that Osset cycle. And that cycle starts tomorrow, right, with the new moon. The new moon tomorrow is the beginning of the Osset cycle. So it's kind of synchronistic that we're talking about this event because it was after an Osset full moon meditation. And if you've been following the work we're doing, if you have the Kamitic meditation journal, you understand the power of the full moon, right? It's a very important time for you to meditate, very important time for you to go within, and a very important time for you to make your declarations, right, about the changes you need to make in your life. So after one such ritual, which lasted many hours, he went home, went to lay down, and he received, I think it was an 11-hour instruction. And he wrote down on cards the figures that you see in front of you right now. It's a 70-card deck. This is not the tarot system. This is African, Medunater, ancient Egyptian divination system. And being the prudent person he was, he instructed his priesthood, which at that time was about, it was 55 of us initiated in my class in 1982. So we probably had about 70 or so of us. And we had to go out and buy blank cards and write by hand. See if you can flip forward to Second Kama Auntie. Do I have her in here? Or let's go, maybe it was backwards. This is part of some of the classes that we teach, some of this material in here. And she's in here somewhere. Just keep flipping, you'll find her. But anyway, we had to write these figures by hand. It didn't look beautiful like, you know, what you see in the cards now. And he tested it for 5 years. Tested it for 5 years. So we used the oracle. How do you use the oracle? You pose a question, you pull a card. We use the oracle to ask questions like, comment on my destiny path, right? Or my incarnation objective. Comment on the available conditions for success in a marriage between this person and that person. Comment on the destiny path of my child, right? Comment on what I must do to succeed in my business, this type of thing, right? And then we were able to see the responses of the oracle and how it turned out in these situations. So that's how we were able to verify, right? To confirm the accuracy, the veracity, and the amazing veracity of this oracle system. And we've been using it ever since. So I'm now 65 years old. My oldest son is in his 40s. We did a reading on his birth, right? And my other children, we did a reading on every one of them when they were first born. And we can see 10, 20, 30 years later how what was stated in that reading on their destiny has come into manifestation. So this is what divination is about, right? Divination is something separate from your head. Trying to prophesize, trying to, like some people do readings through their own psychic ability, which is all good, right? But when it comes to you making certain decisions, you need an unbiased source to confirm. That's what we do in Osiris Set. We might have revelations, intuitions, but we use the oracle to confirm, right? that we fully understood what we received in that intuition. So it's a powerful, powerful spiritual tool. Here she is right here. She's actually in the room in the red line doing readings right now, but you can see her cards, right? So that's the Ma'at Hetep card. It was just a feather. It's a Tahuti card. We got Wajet over there. Oset was just the seed of Oset, symbol of the moon. So these were the cards that we made ourselves after he received the instruction. And we worked with these cards. Some of us still have our old cards. Now you can go back to the first slide, please. Give it up for Sakara Ray Moon. My daughter's in there on the wheels of steel, making it happen on the spot. Here we go. Whoop. So this is the oracle system we call the Medu Neter Oracle System, right? It's explained in Medu Neter Volume 1 and also in Medu Neter Volume 3. Volume 1 is being re-edited and revised and will be back into print in the next few months. But if you have the availability to get the cards or even just to study the oracle, you can now get Medu Neter Volume 3, which explains to you how to use and understand the oracle system, right? That's Medu Neter Volume 3. You can go to KamiticLegacy.com. Kamitic, Kamitic, legacy.net, my bad, .net, and you can order a copy of the book. So the system, the oracular system is made up of 70 cards. Next slide. And what it is it is a process of making the Pau Neteru talk, right? Or the Tree of Life talk. So this is one of the Tree of Lives, which are a cosmological, presentation of the different parts of your spirit, the different divine faculties. What other traditions might call the aspects of God, of the one God, or they might call them archangels, right? Or rishas, what have you. So this is the presentation of these faculties, and there are 11 of them, from Amen to Sphere 1, Oser, Sphere 2, Tahuti, Seker, Ma'at, Heru Kahuti, Heru, Sebek, Oset, and Geb, right? Those 11 parts to your spirit. The deck also includes a set of cards that relates to your psychical faculties. Because of the Kamitic spirituality, you have 7 bodies. You have 7 bodies, right? The first body, the physical body is called the Kaaba, right? And that's the gross physical shell, right? The next body is called the Kaibit, and the Kaibit is the electromagnetic envelope that surrounds and interpenetrates and animates the physical body, right? So, for example, if you're sitting in this room and you feel something and you turn around and somebody's looking at you, they wasn't physically touching you, but you could feel their energy, right? That's your Kaibit, because your Kaibit extends beyond the physical body, right? In Chinese medicine, I believe they call that the Wei Qi, in the sense of like there's an envelope of Qi around you. And the more powerful you are, right, the more balanced and stronger your chi is, the larger your Wei Qi envelope, right? Think of it, you're standing in a swimming pool, I'm in the swimming pool, and I put my hand underwater and I go like this, and you can feel the ripples of the waves touching you, right? Even though I'm not physically touching you. So that's a Kaibit. And one of the representations of it is the 2 faculties, Nekabet and Wajet. You see them in the Kamitic tradition in the crown of the king or the queen mother, right? You ever wonder what that's about? Why are you wearing a serpent on your head? Or sometimes you have the serpent and the vulture? Because the serpent is a symbol of the Kundalini, right? The Kundalini, the life force that in our Indus Kush ancestors say, is coiled at the base of your spine, right? And there's so many coils are open and then you have to arouse it completely. But when you arouse it, it stands straight up, right? Comes out here. So if you've ever done some meditation, some yoga, some qigong, you might feel like energy, right, moving here in what you call the third eye, the ajna chakra, right, the prefrontal cortex. Certain structures in your brain, right, will open up. And that's what enables you, empowers you to get psychic, receptivity, where you can intuit things, right? The cobra and the vulture symbolize, well, in this case, we use a snake. The head of the snake is the nekabet, and the wajet is the tail of the snake. The two poles of energy. So one is hot, very hot, and one is very cold. One is receptive. It's like the antenna that's receiving the transmissions. So that's your ability to psychically receive, right? And the other is projecting, transmitting. So that's the ability for you to move things in your environment with your life force. Important, right? Just move things out of your way, or put you in the right place at the right time. Keep you out of the wrong place at the wrong time, you know what I'm saying? That's one of our faculties, and it's a very important faculty. So there's two sets of cards with the nekabet and the wajet. And then we have the chefs and the dark deceased. The chefs and the dark deceased represent people, human beings, right? Either embodied human beings, or it could be disembodied human beings, which you would call ancestors and so on, right? And as a human being in the Medu Neter, there are either two states. Either you are an enlightened human being, right? An enlightened being, we would say an honorable ancestor, or a person of honor, nobility, and virtue. Some of those people are in your life physically. Some of those people are ancestors on the other side that are influencing and guiding and whispering to you and so on, right? So this card indicates the presence, the influence, or the potential for you to get assistance in that manner. So it's not a faculty of the spirit. It's talking to you about other people in your environment, living or disembodied, right? And you see the chef's got the symbol of Ma'at and the symbol of self-discipline. The flail, right, is like the whip. So that card is saying to you in a graphic way, here's a person who has disciplined themselves by the law, who has lived by Ma'at. And that is why they are seated now as an honorable person and so on, right? That's also our destination. It's for us to go out of here as a chefs, not as a dark deceased. Dark deceased kind of speaks for itself, right? Person is axing themselves in the head, and they have the symbol of the Ka. So they have the wrong self-image. They have cultivated self-destructive character, right? And it represents all of those dark and evil influences in the world that keep pulling people to the dark side, right? So that's the 14, major symbols of the Medu Neter Oracle. The 11 faculties, the Nekabet, the Wajet, the Sheps, and the dark deceased. No, go back. So then these 14 have their suits. So there's 5 of each of those cards. Except the Sheps and dark deceased, they share, right? So there's 3 Sheps cards, and there's 2 dark deceased cards. That's in that set of 5. You got me? So we're talking about the structure of the Medu Neter Oracle. And in the set of 5, you have Hetep, 2 Chas, 2 Ma'at, 10 Chas, 10 Ma'at. Hetep means, in this case, it means a state of balance, right? So you see the 2 circles of light, 2 circles of darkness. It means that faculty is in a state of balance, or there's a potential for you to achieve the proper and positive and balanced use of that faculty. So it has the highest degree of predicting success if you do what that card represents, right? So it's not an unconditional green light, right? For example, if you get a Seker Hetep, a Seker card talks about a personality and a faculty with our spirit that enables us and requires us to sit down and to think and contemplate very deeply, so that our planning and our actions, right, are planned in such a manner that the success of our enterprise is laid on a very strong foundation. So if you tend to be a very impulsive, spur of the moment, can't think stuff, can't wait, right? Planning requires you to wait. There's some big project might take you 5 years just to formulate the proper plan. But if you're like, man, I got to do this, I'm just about doing it. We figure it out as we go along. And you get a second attempt. That's not saying green light, go for it, you got it. The way is open. No, it's saying for you to succeed in this enterprise, this is what is required of you. And if your behavior and mode of functioning doesn't match up with that, that's not a good reading. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give you a little inoculation because people get very into simplistic, I got a good reading on doing this, I got a bad reading on doing that. They want to reduce the whole oracle to just Hetep, Tuchas, Tem-Ma'at. Tem-Ma'at's the worst condition, right? Tem-Chas is more intricate than that. You follow what I'm saying? The key is to understand the different faculties. So, yes, sir.
Why is Tem-Ma'at worse than Tu-Ma'at when both of them are on those opposite scales?
So he asked a technical question. Why is Tem-Ma'at worse than Tu-Ma'at? Because Tem-Ma'at indicates, well, let's look at it this way first of all. Chas means knowledge, right? Ma'at in this case, we're not talking about the deity Ma'at, we're talking about Ma'at as conduct or behavior. So if I get a 2 chas or a 10 chas, the oracle is talking about I either need to cultivate the right knowledge, that's the 2 chas, or I need to get rid of the wrong ideas, that's the 10 chas, right? It's harder to get rid of wrong ideas than to acquire the right ideas, because the wrong ideas could be very fixed in our mind and we're struggling with them and we're attached to them and this and that, right? Ma'at is behavior, so the 2 Ma'at is saying I can succeed if I cultivate the right habits. That's the 2 Ma'at. If I got a 10 Ma'at, it means I got to overcome the bad habits, and the bad habits are strong. So that's more difficult, you see. But it's degrees of difficulty, and it's a process that takes many years of training. That's why I wanted to have this little conversation, because I want to encourage you to learn, to study, and to learn. Just take your time. Make sure you have somebody with more experience looking over your shoulder. But that's the basic structure of the oracle. Now, why are we talking about this right now? What's my time check here? Okay, let me see what we have going forward here. We have the key readings. Oh, go back. Back. Right here. So we're going to close with this because we're running out of time. We do have lots of classes, webinars, and stuff on this. In fact, if you're here and you haven't scanned at the table right there, there's the very first table, there's a podcast that you can get on Soundwise, right? Where we have dozens of classes that are free. And one of them deals with the Divination Oracle. And so there's more information there. But what I want to share with you about the Oracle system, the high system of divination, this is the most valuable thing. This is what I want you to get. It bridges together the 2 areas of your life. You got to pay the bills. You got to work a job. You got to take care of your physical health. You got mundane things in life you got to do, right? And a lot of people say, you know what? I know I need to meditate. I got to study. I got to get my spirituality, but I'm just too busy, right? I'm working life. Life is life, and I don't have the time and energy. I'm going to make some money, and then I'll deal with my spirituality, right? Or I need to go just get away from everything. I need to get away from my kids. I need to get away from my kids. I need to get away from relationship. I need to just go somewhere so I can retreat and get into my spirituality. And there's validity to all of that. But what the divination, the African divination science is the reading brings together your spiritual growth, development with your mundane life, because they're really not separate. So now the mundane enterprises that you're involved in, if you know what netter governs that, because you got a reading. You got a reading on that relationship, right? You got a Heru reading on your marriage or your relationship. And you realize that Heru reading is saying, you know what? You need to exert the proper leadership. And that means you need to be the one to lead and live in truth and being correct. And get out of this childish thing of, well, you said this, so that's why I did that. And, because, if you was right, then I'd be right. You know what I mean? Giving you an example, right? Or you're manifesting the wrong Heru. You think just because you're a man or just because you're the woman or just because you make more money or whatever, then that's the basis of your authority in the relationship, when Heru's authority is based on the fact that Heru follows Ma'at, right, and leads in that. So now I understand that. So now I'm in my relationship and I'm having those challenges and those issues, but now I understand this is a spiritual exercise. The most important thing for me to do is to correct my wrong Heru, my lack of Heru, my lack of the proper manifestation of the Heru part of our spirit. And when I do that, that's going to contribute to the success of this relationship. And if the relationship doesn't last, guess what? I'm taking that with me. So it was still a success in terms of my spiritual development. You follow me? Because I'm not going to take the same mistakes and attitudes and things into my next opportunity to have a good relationship. Does that make sense, y'all? Right, so that's why in Africa, anything you wanted to do, you went to the priest, the Babalao, you went to the priestess, you got your reading, and then you had to do your sacrifice, which means you had to correct your behavior, right? You had to, make the time and energy to cultivate the divinity in order to succeed at that enterprise. So your spiritual life and your mundane life are not opposed to each other. They are intertwined, and the oracle shows you how to leverage that so that every opportunity for something mundane is an opportunity for spiritual growth and development, and vice versa, right? So I appreciate y'all stopping in, taking a look at what we're doing. Sakara put the link tree up so you can know how to contact us. And you definitely are welcome to our classes. We have online classes. We have classes in person in many cities so that you can learn and benefit from this great oracle system, the Meduna Tear. Get the Soundwise, and you can listen to some classes about that. All right? Peace and blessings. All right. Oh, and one last thing. It's in the back of on the back of your calendar, on the back of your Kamitic meditation journal. There's a QR code. There's a website called KamitAstrologyCalendar.com, and there's a free membership site. And there's information in there on how to put your oracle readings into your journal and track that and work that throughout the year. Right? Have a successful 2025. Ra'u Neframin, and we have a Sarset PA.
You running this right here?
Yes.
I don't know if one of your people this might be their license plate number. They left their vehicle